Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, Rob. Let's get the show on the road.
I'm just saying, Rob, I may or may not have worn this shirt today in your honor, as I got the Mario shirt as they're walking down Abbey Road. And I apologize to everybody about the late start. They were having a little technical issues here with the interwebs and all. Needed to get that going, or else you can't see us. Yeah, the Wi-Fi's, all the Wi-Fi problems. I used to work for the cable company back up in Jersey, and oh my God, the names people used to give it. The interwebs, the Wi-Fi's, the Wi-Fi's, as if it's somehow pluralized. Like you have more than one Wi-Fi, apparently, somehow. Oh my gosh, the stuff people used to say. Oof, fun times, fun times. So today, folks, we are here to give you guys all the latest news around the NFL, give you a little talk about OBJ, who had a nice little workout today. Not that I had one, so there's one thing he and I don't have in common, but then also going over our... Yeah, I got a tattoo. There we go. We got some tattoos. And then we're going to go over, of course, with you guys here, all of our corners here. That was our original intent there. We just added on the OBJ thing because, listen, I'll tell you point blank, there's one guy even in our comments section, one of the groups where we put it out there saying, what the hell, I'm tired of you guys pushing the OBJ thing. Listen, we ain't pushing OBJ. We don't even want OBJ. We made that pretty clear. Yeah, but the Giants keep on linking up with the guy. And I don't care what our personal opinion is, we're going to give you guys all the information on the Giants. Whether we agree with it, we disagree with it, whatever the case may be. Because we're not here just to give opinion. Don't get me wrong, we have opinions. And we will give them to you, no problem. Whether you guys agree, disagree, whether they're, considered the PC thing to say or whatever, like, we're going to give you our opinions. But at the same point, we're going to give you guys the news, no matter what we think of it. So then we're also going to, like I said, go over all the corners here for you guys here. We got a lot of information to give you guys in corners. There's some great corners coming out this year in the draft, and I think that's the really exciting part of the conversation here today. So before we get started today, we do have something, Rob. We do have some breaking news. So breaking news is tonight, there was a trade in the NFL. A trade. The number one overall pick that the Chicago Bears held is no longer with the Chicago Bears. It is now owned by the Carolina Panthers, who now get to pick the quarterback of their choice. This is a big, big deal, guys. And I got to say, I'm kind of shocked it went down the way it went down. I honestly expected this trade to be a two-parter. I thought the Bears would trade down with something like the Texans, the Colts, maybe trade down again a second time here. But no, they went right down to 9. And the reason they did is because of what they got back. And I think the big piece they got back they wanted is they got DJ Moore in the deal. They have a true, legitimate number one wide receiver. And they want to find out if they have a number one quarterback. And how do you find that? What have we been complaining about for years as Giant fans? You have to give talent around the guy and see what he develops into. So that's what they're doing. So they're getting DJ Moore. That's one of the only big media thing here, because that's the only player going into the deal here. They also get the number 9 overall pick, obviously, so they're going down 8 spots, and that's it. So they're still going to get a top tier guy. Because let's be honest, within those 9 picks, probably 4 of them are going to be quarterbacks the way things are going. So they're going to have their pick of one of the top 5 players in the draft that is not a quarterback. Then on top of that, they get the number 61 pick, which is a late second-round pick. Keep in mind, they traded away their second-round pick in the Chase Claypool trade they made earlier on the season. So they're getting a second-round pick back. They're also getting the first-rounder next year and the second-rounder the year after that. So 2 picks this year, 1 in 24, the first-rounder, the second-rounder in 25, which sounds so weird to say 2025 when 2 years away. I feel old.
We're getting old.
Alrighty, so yeah, that's the first big trade to happen here in this draft, and I expect some more dominoes to fall, because I'm telling you right now, Arizona Cardinals will make a trade out of number 3, I think. Because especially after this, you're going to have the Panthers number 1 take QB. You're going to have the Texans number 2 take QB. You're going to have number 4 is the Colts, who will probably take a QB. So if you want one of the top 4 QBs, or if you're the Colts and you want to block somebody else from blocking you, you're going down to 3. A trade will happen with the Cardinals. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to happen.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. So it's time now for news from around the league. Boom. I love the explosion at the end of that. So we had a big retirement news here today. So Devin McCourty, who's been a safety since the dawn of man, it feels like, for the New England Patriots, has officially retired. 13 seasons. 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a career. I'm not going to sit there and say he's a Hall of Famer, because I know people love to say that when anybody retires. He's not a Hall of Famer. But that's still one hell of a career.
I mean, yeah, 3-time Super Bowl winner, but how many Super Bowl seasons he went to? 5?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
like almost half
of
his years. Almost half of his years were Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty damn good.
And what, like 20% of his career was playing in the playoffs?
Yeah.
15% of his career? Like that's
impressive stats. He will go into, if they have one. I'm not enough up to date on Patriot stuff to know this. If the Patriots have their own Hall of Fame, he'll be in it.
Oh,
he'll definitely be in it. But he won't be in the NFL one. So I don't want to over glorify as far as that, because I love when people he should be in the Hall of Fame. Why? You wouldn't have said it yesterday. Don't say it today. Point blank. We also had a player actually, we had a couple players get released today. One re-signed, one with a trade potential here. So first one we got is former Giant Marcus Golden. The Golden Boy himself got cut by the Arizona Cardinals. Only had 2.5 sacks last year after having 10 sacks the prior year. So they cut him. They saved about $3 million. So the fact that they cut him for $3 million tells you they don't really think very highly of him. Let's be honest, even a halfway decent player you're holding on to for $3 million. So I would say this, Giant fans, if you're a Marcus Golden fan, because everything I've heard, he was a very nice guy when he was here. He will not be here again. I'm telling you that right now. He does not like the Giants. It did not end well. He will go play for anybody but the Giants. I'm telling you right now. He just does not like the team, because the team did not necessarily do right by him when he was a free agent. So next up, we have the Eagles re-sign defensive end Brandon Graham to his 37th season with the Philadelphia Eagles, it feels like. How long has this guy been in the NFL for? I feel like he's like 50 years old.
Something like that.
Oh, my God. Eagles also had a conversation with superstar cornerback Darius Slay. Told him to take a pay cut. You know what he told him?
Trade me.
No. That's not even how it went down. He said no. And he said, but I want to be an Eagle. And they said, if you want to be an Eagle, you're taking a pay cut. He said no. And then they said, okay, go find yourself a trade partner. They can't afford him, they're saying. We talked about this the whole entire...
I was about to say, we already talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, half the roster needs to be re-signed. Like,
and they're going to have to sign Jalen Hurts to an extension. They're going to do it this offseason. I'm telling you that right now.
They don't have to.
They're going to... In their mind, they're going to have to. I'm telling you right now. They're going to do it.
I hear what you're saying, but they don't have to. It's like... We shouldn't have tagged Barkley, but we tagged Barkley because it's the right decision for the franchise.
No. I would give you this comparison. Jalen Hurts is like their Dexter Lawrence at a more important position. No offense to Dexter Lawrence. He had one really good year, and you still have a year under control. There's no need to extend him, like you're saying, but they're gonna do it. In their eyes, there's a need. I don't know why. There's just that need in their eyes.
I'm just saying, like, if you're a smart, I
get it. If you were a smart businessman who was raised as a business boy, you would not make this kind of decision.
And I hear from Philadelphia fans saying, like, yeah, I do want to resign this guy right away. At the same time, look at Patrick Mahomes. Like, listen,
I'm telling you right now, if you put Daniel Jones behind that line he had, top line, you give him two, Pro Bowl, one, like all pro caliber receivers. You give him a damn good tight end. You give him a good running back, a top 10 running back like that. He would have looked amazing in that offense too.
Oh yeah, 100%. So it's also not to take away from what Jalen Hurts has done.
I'm taking away. I'm taking away. Did you see that Hail Mary? I'm taking away.
Oh well, I mean, besides that Hail Mary, come on.
My quarterback can throw more than 20 yards, folks.
As much as I want to talk crap about Jalen Hurts, he did put the work in this past offseason to make himself that much better.
But how much was it the team around him, and how much was it the player?
Exactly that, and he's like, you don't have to pay him yet. Like, tell him to put the work in again, and you'll get a better contract. You'll be the first quarterback to make $55,000-$60,000 million a year. That'd be ridiculous.
We'll see if it happens. Now, we also had a wide receiver get released today, Adam Thielen from the Minnesota Vikings. And I'll tell you right now, Giant fans are already like, oh my God, we need a receiver. We should look at this guy. No, and no. Not unless it's really, really cheap. This guy is washed up. He appeared like to just absolutely disappear last year for them after being such a consistent guy for the last few years. And when you're on a team with literally the best wide receiver in all of football and you can't get the ball, it's not because the other guy's being a ball hog, because you should be wide open, because the job is not to stop Adam Thielen, it's to stop Justin Jefferson. So when you're not getting the ball like that, that's an issue. You lost something.
Yes, 100%.
Especially at 32, you've lost something. So I don't mind having him on a cheap deal if we want him to have like a backup guy, but I heard some people on social media go, oh, this is our number one we've been looking for. He's a great possession receiver. No, he's not. He's done. So Minnesota also has done,
but he's definitely not a number one.
He's done as a premier receiver. How about that?
Okay, we can agree on that.
Okay, there we go. So Minnesota has another issue on their hands, though, besides having to replace him now. Zadarius Smith has informed the team that he wants a release. He included by going ahead and posting on social media, thanking the fans and teammates for his time in Minnesota. That's how far he took it.
Wow.
So they said no. They said no. But he's disgruntled to say the least at that point. Jets also made a trade. I know you guys are waiting for the Jets to make a trade. This is not the trade you were waiting on. This is not Aaron Rodgers. They traded to get a 7th-round pick to get a Chuck Clark from the Ravens safety. So they're ramping up here. They are ramping up. I'm telling you, watch the Jets this offseason, because once that quarterback domino falls, you could see people wanting to come on board to a team that looks like they were one quarterback away from going somewhere last year or so. I got
laughed out. Funny talks about the Jets. Like I've been talking about football all season, obviously, because I'm a football guy, and I was legit talking around like to some football fans, say like the Jets are just about a quarterback away from being a potential player for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and I got left out, but they're literally like. They're literally right there.
They're a quarterback away.
Yeah. So, and now they're just making it even a tighter situation to, a stronger, pursuit for me, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be a really interesting Jets offseason. I hate to say that as a Giant fan, because I don't root against them, but I always want us to be better.
Giants will still be better. But
yeah, they will be better, because our quarterback won't be a 40-year-old crybaby. So he'll be a 26-year-old well paid. I won't say he didn't. No, honestly, for all the crap that Daniel Jones takes, he's never once complained.
No.
That man has some huevos. Just saying, that man has some huevos. Let's see here. So we got some wide receiver news. So the Chargers restructure Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So for anybody hoping that they would drop those guys and we'd get some, some new potential receivers here on the team, not going to happen. They created $14 million in cap space. Not only is it not going to happen, but that means it's that much more difficult to probably cut them next year. So just take those names out of your hat. They're Chargers. They're going to be state Chargers. Now, one option, though, that I didn't hear about till a couple days ago here, the Broncos are said to be quietly shopping around wide receiver Courtland Sutton. So not that he's an amazing wide receiver, but he would have been our top wide receiver last year. So a name to keep an eye and see what happens there. See if he actually does move. We also got some XFL news. Bet you guys didn't think we'd go there. I didn't think we'd go there.
I was going to say, I didn't think we were going to go there either.
No, I didn't think so either, but we got some news here. So, former Giant Cody Lattimore, remember him back in the day? Former Bronco, former Giant. He's apparently switched over to tight end. And unlike Kelvin Benjamin, he's actually good at it, apparently. He's not just eating at the buffet. So, he's, look for him to potentially pop up next year in the NFL as a backup tight end somewhere because he's playing that good. We also got former Giant Trent Harris is leading the league right now, 4.5 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. So we got some Giants showing up here in the XFL. So I guess we have the almost NFL level players locked down. The Giants. We have the best scrubs.
Yeah.
So officially onto Giants news here. So the Giants were officially awarded the 5th and 7th round comp pick as expected. So we do go in officially with 11 picks into this draft here, which I believe is tied for most. Now, keep in mind, we don't necessarily have the most first round or second round picks because we have just one of each of those. But 3rd round, 5th round, 7th round, we have a lot of mid to ladder picks.
That's when you find a lot of depth talent.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely agree on that one there. That's where you get the depth there. And that's what we're missing. Depth. The depth of our soul.
Yeah. It's empty.
We also had news that Tiki Barber is making it to the Hall of Fame. Tiki Barber making it to the Hall of Fame as someone to introduce his brother into the Hall of Fame, of course, but not.
Yeah. There we go.
The confused look on Rob's face. Now, I'll say this, though. And I've said this forever, Rob. Since we've done this show, I've mentioned this like 3 or 4 times. Tiki Barber should be in the Hall of Fame. I will still say that. Tiki Barber should be in the Hall of Fame. If you look at his numbers, they are just as good as Marshall Faulk's. Look it up. I'm telling you, comp-wise, he is right there on. Now, he may not have played for as long, so we didn't get the cumulative quite as much. But on a per-year average, he was a better player than Marshall Faulk was, who's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Tiki Barber should be in. I think the big issue is us Giant fans hate him for what he said about Eli and all. And when you're hated by the own team you were on, it doesn't help your case. So, also, last year's late preseason pickup, Tony Jefferson, the safety, he's no longer a safety. He's not feeling so safe. He's now a linebacker. He wants to convert to a linebacker. And it's an interesting move in the day where the NFL now has all these guys that are smaller linebackers. And it used to be when you were a corner, you got older, you moved to safety. I wonder if you're going to start seeing this more now, where these guys that are older, that are safeties, that might be losing a step, go, you know what, let me add 10 pounds. I'm a linebacker now.
I mean, I don't think that's far-fetched.
No.
It's very easier, when you get older, to put on that muscle mass, and you don't move as fast, but you can still be just as strong, if not stronger.
Your slowest safety is a fast linebacker.
Yeah. And I'm saying,
and I get the test. It's definitely easier to put on weight as you get older.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're a 220, 215 pounder safety, you're fast, and you go up to 240, if you will.
You're a linebacker.
Pounds, you're a linebacker, and you're still fast.
Yep.
It's with the time just going to the gym, especially like these guys do. It just comes on natural.
Oh yeah. And then we got Giants 366 went ahead and reported that Sterling Shepard is still rehabbing and is expected to play next season, but no final decision has been made. So haven't heard any Shep news except for what we've been anticipating, which is exactly what we just said. But like I said, it's interesting to see somebody else reporting the same thing here. Mike Garofalo with the NFL Network was on Art Stapleton's podcast. He said that Giants are going to be interested this offseason in free agents Marcus Davenport, Mike Gesicki, which I've been a big Mike Gesicki fan from day one of this thing. Yeah. He also was kind of non-committal on the rest of the stuff. Didn't want to give names. He said some lesser-known wide receivers, and they also could swing big for a difference maker in the draft, which is interesting. We do have all those picks. If there's really a guy we want, we got the picks to make the move up.
Yeah.
So we'll see there. Now, on to part of what we just said we're going to discuss in this whole episode here, right off the the get-go here, is the Giants were there today as OBJ was working out in Arizona, displaying his talents now that he's about 13 months removed from his latest ACL injury that he had in the Super Bowl, not this season, but the prior season. So it was interesting because all year long when the later picks there were going, they were talking about, is OBJ going to sign with the Bills, the Giants, the Cowboys? Where is he going to go? In the end, no one signed him because he refused to even work out. So the fact that he's publicly working out is a good sign, I think. It means he's much healthier, at least physically. I have to question him mentally based on his hairstyle he's using right now. But have you seen his hair right now? Dude, it's like Dennis Rodman. He's got like a rainbow colors everywhere on his head right now. And it's funny because I didn't even know, who it was when I saw a video at first. And I see the back of his head and that's all I see, him running down a football field. And I see the multicolors going like Bozo the Clown. And I'm like, who the hell is this clown? Sure enough, it was that clown. It was OBJ doing one-handed catches again.
It was
one-handed catches. It was that clown. So, we've been pretty consistent on our thoughts on OBJ over the the last few months here. At the right price, he's potentially worth a shot. But that's probably the most positive thing you'll hear us say about OBJ. Because in the end, he's a headache. I know people love him. There are Giant fans that love him, and I don't blame you guys for loving him. He gave us some great memories and some great games. But personality-wise, he's too much of a him guy, not a team guy. At least in our humble.
I can see him go. Yeah, I can see him going to actually Arizona. Them getting rid of D-Hop.
I don't think so.
Up OBJ.
He wants to win. You're not winning next year in Arizona, especially with a quarterback that's got an ACL tear issue. You think he's going to be rehabbing very well? You think he's going to go right on Call of Duty? I'm just saying. Call of Duty wins every time. So what I do think,
you do lose a lot in Call of Duty, just saying. Oh, maybe that's just me.
I do think a team like the Bills might be a good fit. I do think a team like the Patriots would be a good fit. But one thing to think about, though, is he also has a wife now and a child. And his wife works on the West Coast. So he may want to play in the West Coast to be with her and the child at that point.
So, yeah. And isn't D-Ball going to be a free agent? Or
who?
They're looking to trade D-Ball over in San Francisco?
Oh, Deebo Samuel? No, they already signed him to extension.
Did they?
So,
okay.
Yeah, they already signed him to extension.
I was saying, because maybe go there.
I've heard rumors of the Chargers being an option there because it's in LA. The Rams, obviously, he's played for them. They're interested. So I'll give you this. This is the list of teams who had a representative go to the workout. The Panthers, obviously they're looking for number one after today. The Giants, the Patriots, the Rams, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Browns, and the Ravens. On top of that, Jerry Jones himself said the Cowboys would be interested, but they wouldn't send somebody to that workout. They don't need to see it, they said. I guess they see the video, and that's enough for them at that point. I mean, let's be honest. That video is going to be everywhere once it releases. I haven't seen it yet, but it's going to be everywhere. Sauce Gardner was also seen recruiting OBJ. And there's been talks before about Aaron Rodgers and OBJ back in Green Bay. So you have to think the Jets are potentially in the mix as well. Which, if you're a Giant fan and you still love OBJ and you see him wearing green when he could have come here, Just saying. The love should disappear. As far as the Giants reps, they sent wide receiver coach Al Groh, and they sent a member of the personnel department. I didn't hear who that was. It was just a member of the personnel department. So they did send a coach and a personnel guy. So that's something at least. But I don't know how much to think into that because, again, they didn't give a guy like Joe Shane there. They didn't have Brian Dable there. But again, you can watch a video and see everything you see. The fact they had anybody there means they're interested. So we got a comment here from John Anderson. I said, I don't hate Tiki. Half those comments about Eli was not included and it was misinterpreted. Tiki gave us great moments. I was there when he broke records and Eli Manning got his first win because of him. Like I said, John, I'm not a fan of Tiki the person, but I will separate the two and say he's a Hall of Famer. He should be in the Hall, point blank. There's plenty of people that I don't like necessarily personality-wise that are in the Hall of Fame. Warren Sapp comes to mind. That guy's known to be the biggest jerk you'll ever meet in your life. He still is.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be there.
Aaron Rodgers will be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, great example. Brett Favre. Not that I'm saying he stole from the people of Mississippi. Yeah. Break out the lawsuit, Favre. Because I said I'm not saying it.
Allegedly.
Clearly, I'm saying I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't sue me like you sued Pat McAfee. Plus, I have no money to take, so go for it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, let's break right into our talk of the corners here. So, I think the big thing we got to talk about here is not just how they played this year, but where do we see these individual players going forward? Because before we look even who we want to add, you got to look at who we want to keep. So the name at the top of that list, obviously, is Adoree Jackson. But here's the problem with Adoree Jackson. $19 million cap hit this year. $19 million. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But you know what Shane's probably going to do? Renegotiate.
See, I've heard a bunch of mixed things up. Because keep in mind, he's getting into his late 20s. He's had some injuries. So he's 28 right now. So my thought process was, let's give him a 3-year extension.
Yeah.
And just rip this last year up and just give him a 3-year. You know what I mean? And so you're basically adding 2 years onto the deal. He'll still be at that point. You figure if he's 28 now, he'll play 28, 29, 30. And he still has a chance to get another contract after that because early 30s, you can still play corner for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Depending on the individual, like some corners play up to 34, 35.
Yeah. I mean, look at Patrick Peterson last year. He's almost 33, and he was a top corner for the Vikings, and wasn't bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's ever going to get a big deal again, but he didn't play bad. He'll still get the year-to-year deals.
But he still got his money.
I mean, Adoree was just so shut down this year.
That's what
like, legitimately,
you can't look away. Like, yeah, $19 million is a lot. But if you turn around, just like we just said, every now and then you got to rip up the contract, turn around,
like
renegotiate the contract, keep him here.
I mean, like I said, I think for a guy like Adoree who goes, okay, I'm 28, I've had some injuries, I got a lot of money coming to me this year, but it wouldn't be better to get a whole lot more money coming long term? I think he'd take it. I really do. And obviously, I don't know him personally. I could be wrong on that. But, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. It's like I said, it's an interesting option there to go for Adoree Jackson all over again, a brand new deal, and get that cap number down. I'm not even saying get it down like to nothing. But if you can get it down to like $13, $14 million, that's still $5 or $6 million you saved. That's still another player. That much of a difference. That's another player you can sign. Yeah. Speaking of the corner, we do have another corner that is a free agent. Fabian Moreau, the late season, obviously the late preseason pickup we got from the Texans that just totally, I think, blew the expectations out of the water. Totally did. We had very low expectations on him at the beginning of the year, and lowered expectations. Remember that Mad TV back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I used to love Mad TV back in the day. I'm aging myself right now, For the kids that don't know, Mad TV, which is obviously Mad Magazine, they made their own version of SNL. And look up the cast. You'll go, okay, I know this person from that thing, this person from that. Like Will Sasso pops into stuff all the time. Nicole Sullivan, Phil Lamar. It does like literally every voiceover thing you could ever think of. Any cartoon you ever see, look up the cast. I guarantee you Phil Lamar's in it. He's that guy. Every single cartoon he's in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, good stuff all over the place there. That show was in the day. But yeah, Fabian Moreau was this was his best year by far. I mean, how do you go from getting cut by the Texans to being a legit number 2 corner? That's pretty impressive there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, he's a free agent. So, it depends. Like, was it like his best year and that's all we're going to see from this guy? Was this past year? Or does he have potential? Is it the coaching staff? So, for the right cost, you got to keep him. But if he's asking for a big contract, out the door you go.
Yeah.
So, like, I like this play. Like, he did beginning of the year didn't look as great, but he towards the end of the year, like, yeah, he's the guy you want to keep on for the right
Here's
cost.
my thing. If we can lower Adoree down, like you said, like $5-6 million, hand that money to Fabian Moreau for a year. Give him a second year with us. You didn't spend anything extra. You're still exactly where you were cap space wise. It still doesn't stop you from getting somebody else.
Agree.
It just guarantees that you don't go lower than where they could have been at that point there. So we got another comment here from John Anderson. Hate him because he was a Cowboy, but what do you think of Damian Wilson, linebacker? He got released today. Maybe get him cheap. John, who was a Cowboy, I guess, is the first question. I'm trying to think back to who we were talking about. I can't remember a guy who was a Cowboy. We talked about Warren Sapp. Huh? You talking about? I thought. Oh, they were talking about the players we were talking about before. Okay, Damian Wilson because he was a Cowboy. I got you. I thought it was two separate thoughts. This is what happened when it happens, but it's like 10 o'clock at night here. So yeah. I'll put it this way: I'm not interested in a cheap linebacker. Yeah, okay, just confirm that. Yeah, I'm not interested in a cheap linebacker, John. We have to fix that position. We have to go get the right guy. And the right guy is not going to be cheap. He doesn't have to be expensive. He doesn't have to be $20 million a year linebacker. But he's going to be at least a $10 million a year linebacker.
If we're going to get cheap linebacker, it's going to come from the draft.
Yeah, exactly. Ken Cristiano comes in with, hey, guys, how about that Bears trade? Yeah, Ken, we started that with the show there, and I'm telling you, I honestly think you guys could have gotten more. But I think you guys just wanted DJ Moore that bad. I think you legitimately wanted to get a top weapon so you can see what you got in your quarterback, which is smart in the end. But I still think you probably could have gone down to number 2 with the Texans and still made this exact trade with the Panthers and got more. But what do I know? I'm not behind the scenes. So, at least I try to say it that way. I'm not. Who knows? So, the next player we got coming up here is the guy that I talk so much trash about this preseason. It's not even funny. So much. Every single game I was ragging on this guy. I did. I'll say it point blank. I did. And it's Aaron Robinson. A-Rob himself.
A-Rod.
I cannot tell you how surprised I was when the regular season started. And I'm not going to say he looked good or great or anything like that. But he didn't look nearly as bad as he looked in the preseason.
I'd say he looked way better than the preseason.
I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if he was just didn't want to practice, didn't want to play in the preseason, which is stupid because you got the starting job handed to you basically because you're young. Let's be honest in that. He was young and the highest draft pick young guy we had, and that's why he got the job. But yeah, he's in his 3rd year of his rookie contract. He'll definitely be back. Curious to see what happens him coming back from his injury. Because obviously he was injured for 3/4 of the season, so we'll have to see what he does. But 3rd year of a rookie deal, he'll be back. Nick McLeod. He was a little bit of a shocker for me, to be honest, because here's a guy that we basically got to be a bottom-level corner that you hope to never see the field. And he didn't embarrass himself. He was that good value depth piece guy.
He was a good C+ player.
Yes. If this was computer programming, we would say he was a C++.
C++. Yeah. Like he wasn't your top tier. He wasn't even like he was just I don't want to even say just below average, like, but he wasn't quite average of a corner in that position. Like, but he, like you said, he didn't embarrass himself. He went out there and like he made some good plays, and he left some good plays, but he held his own in the NFL. So
yeah, like I said, for a guy we picked up late, literally off the scrap heap, that's not a bad move. And the interesting thing is we have him still for next year on top of that. So he's signed for this year at $940,000. And if we cut him, there's absolutely no cap hit. So I'm telling you right now, he'll be in camp. And unfortunately, not having any cap hit if we cut him means if it's a tie, the tie goes to the person who has the bigger cap hit. So I won't say it's a guarantee he'll be back next year, but he'll probably be back next year. I'll put it that way. I think it's a pretty decent chance.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who won't be back next year is Darnay Holmes. He will not be back next year, folks, unless he restructures his deal. That's the one caveat I'll give, because he was on the field a decent amount. But if we cut him, we save $2.7 million, folks. $2.7 million. I can't stress that enough. Almost $3 million, just by cutting Darnay Holmes, who, let's be honest, has not blown away the competition. No. He's been a guy that, if you look every year, it seems like they're trying to draft his replacement since his rookie year. They did that when they got Aaron Robinson. They did that when they got Cordell Flott. So I've always thought something is off with him as far as him and the disconnect with the organization. I don't know if there's something personality-wise there, or they just don't have a lot of faith in him. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, I fully expect to be gone. And I bet people are wondering, well, what about the cap hit? The cap hit for cutting him is $198,000. That's it.
See you later. Go bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye, Darnay.
Bye, bye.
Bye-bye. I would say a dance troupe is not in our future.
Yeah, no.
So, here's
Debbie JT, so good.
Here's another surprise out of this group. Cordell Flott. Like, when he got drafted, we were all like, who the hell is... Like, this was the guy that had like a 5th round grade by a lot of guys. We got him in the 3rd round. And I was livid when we got him. Livid. And I'm still not sold that it was a good value for us to take him there when we did. So, I don't want to sit there and say it that way. But he didn't do as bad as I expected.
I mean, he has potential, so...
Yeah. I said, we'll have to see how much he continues to grow and see where he goes from here. But second year rookie deal and all, he'll be on the squad next year. I think that's pretty safe to say.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the next guy that I have questions about whether or not he'll be on the squad, Rodarius Williams. So remember, towards the end of the year, there was 2 guys who complained about a lack of playing time. It was Tay Crowder, and it was Rodarius Williams. Tay Crowder was bye-bye real quick.
Yeah.
Rodarius Williams stayed on the roster. He even played in the last game when all the scrubs were going against the Eagles. He's in the 3rd year of his rookie deal. But you have to wonder if the organization wants to keep him around when he publicly called him out for not playing him. Because that was right on Twitter. That wasn't like he, got recorded in a secret conversation. He popped it right out there on Twitter. So if we cut him, we save $897,000. We have a cap hit of 87. We have a cap hit of just 87K. So he'll be a camp body, but if he doesn't impress, that's not going to help in his decision-making time. They're not going to forget that. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Next, we have Zion Gilbert, who's just a cheap guy to have around. You hope you don't have to play. Let's call him what he is.
Practice.
Exactly. So he's signed already for next year as well at $870K. Then we got Justin Lane, another guy like that. You hope to not have to play him. If we didn't have all the injuries, he probably never would have played with us in general. Free agent.
Yeah.
So unless we have injuries or we want to bring him in as a camp body, I don't see that happening. So if you look at where we're at, we got Dory, we got Aaron Robinson, we got Nick McLeod, we got Cordell Flott, we got Zion Gilbert. So that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. If we re-sign Fabian Moreau, that puts us at 6. Now let's say Zion's on the practice squad, 'cause that's where he's going to be. We're back down to 5.
Yeah.
That's a legit group. I wouldn't say it's like a great group, but that's still a legit, like, ready to go group if need be. If we can't upgrade CB2, which I think is where we all want to upgrade.
Yeah, if you can't, like, if you look at that core group, you're looking at what somewhere in the B group if you're going to give it like the alphabetical grading.
I would say even
B-,
C potentially, depending because of the depth. Yeah. But the problem is,
I was going to go with B-, but like
when you have a shutdown corner, it still helps.
That's what I'm saying. Like when you talk about Dory Jackson, who is like your A+, he picks up all those C and B- players and picks up their average. So like, and Aaron Robinson, like too, like
as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy, because like
no more punt returning for you, good sir. No more punt returning.
Yeah, but when he looked good,
that is not your job.
But when he looked good and he was still playing, like he looked like an A-, B+ player. So like all these other guys are playing at C, C-. They got elevated because of these two guys.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm okay with the group if need be, but I do think we got to pick up one guy to add to that group.
I would like to see that.
So one guy, that's all I'm looking for. One corner to rule them all. Precious.
To rule the second spot.
So let's take a look at the free agents, because obviously we have two different options here. We can either go ahead and get a free agent, or we can go ahead and draft a guy. I already have my preference, but I'm not going to give you that yet. Let me give you who's available as a free agent. I'm just going to run down the list here real quick for you guys.
There's a lot.
There's a lot because it's a big position. I'm just giving you the big name guys, the guys who played a lot of snaps in the last season. So we got Marcus Peters, Jonathan Jones, William Jackson, Shaquille Griffin, Ronald Darby, James Bradbury, Patrick Peterson, Eli Apple, no, Kyle Fuller, Rock Ya-Sin, Sean Bunting, Jamel Dean, Cameron Sutton. Those are all guys that are legit starters in this league. But they're all guys who don't want to get paid. So, as much as I think that there are some guys in there, like a Bunting, for example, that could be a good CB2 for us, they're all going to want to get paid. I don't want to pay them.
No, especially with what we're dealing with our cap right now. The only one that really stands out to me, maybe because it's sentimental, is Bradbury.
No, he'll never come back. He said he would, but I'm telling you right now, he was so livid. And
he was, but why would he come out and publicly say he will come back?
Driving up the cost. The more people that want you, the more money you get. That's what I really think it was all about. Now, what you got to also look at, though, is it's the same GM. It's the same regime. It's not like this happened 2 years ago with Gettleman. You go, oh, well, that was Gettleman. This is us. We're different now.
Yeah, but they turn around and say, hey, regime. Listen, we're cutting costs. We couldn't afford you. Let's work out a deal now because we got more of a cap.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think we can afford him now.
Probably not. But
this is the last contract he's going to get. He's going to want to get like $17, $18 million.
So let's go on to the draft.
Yeah, and that's where we're going, folks. So I'll give you that list of people. If anybody watching here live wants to put in one of the comments here with the guy you want, feel free to pop it in. That sounded dirty. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
feel free to pop it in. Pop it in the comments.
And then the corner back.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, like I said, let us know. Let's see what you think, and let's see if you got a name maybe we weren't thinking of, or if there's a name that you're gonna want to tell us that we're wrong on. I'm curious to hear it. So you know what? I'm gonna do one better even. I am. I'm going to do one better. If you guys want to call us in with one, the goofball line is now open. Call us in at 732-245-8736. The goofball line is now open. So you can even do better than the comment. You can come right on the show and tell us. So let's go ahead and talk here about some of these draft guys, though. And then we'll get back to free agents if anybody calls in and wants to give 2 cents here. So let's go over the guys in the first round because it's a definite option for the Giants to look at a guy in the first round. So the last couple of shows, we've been talking about mid-range guys, like third, fourth rounders and that kind of stuff. No, we're going right to the big boys here because this is where we're going to go. If we're going to get a CB2, we're going to have to get a guy in the first 3 rounds, if not the first 2. So first up, we got Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. So he is a man corner. That's one of the things I looked at with these guys. Are they man or are they zone or are they a hybrid? I want a man corner guy, straight up.
Especially with Wink's defense.
That's Wink's defense. You cater to the defense. Unless you've got an unbelievable talent you think you can do something with. It's a draft. You don't know if you got an unbeatable talent. So Christian Gonzalez, like I said, out of Oregon. Good length, athletic, good ball skills. Not very strong. That's the one concern people have with him is he's going to get bullied by some of the bigger receivers out there in the league. Next up after him, you got Joey Porter out of Penn State. Another man corner. Good length, ball hawk. This guy's a day one starter. This is my guy that I think is the best corner of the draft. And I should say, I'm going the list here, based on the draft network. So they had Christian Gonzalez number 5. They had Joey Porter Jr. number 11. I would go with Joey Porter Jr. all day long.
Same.
By the way, if you guys are looking at the name, yes, that Joey Porter is his father, the famous Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker.
And he fits in more of our draft spot. Like, so to say, like, if a corner goes out, like, he's, like, more available to us being at number 11.
Here's the other thing with him, too. He's a bigger physical corner. He's the guy that will pop you in that first 5 yards. Man press is Wink's defense all day long. So now right behind him, you got Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. Another man corner. Physical. Good tackler. Special teams experience. Physical. But the one thing with him, though, is he's also very lean. And there's some people who think he's better suited for the slot position because of that size. We have enough guys in the slot. We have slots everywhere. We have more slots than the Playboy Mansion, okay? So we're good. This is not a guy I would be looking at personally. Number 18, Cam Smith out of South Carolina, the good old Gamecock. Listen, that's their guys. This is the name. I didn't make this up. It's not like I'm just trying to be a pervert and say Gamecock all over again. If I wanted to be a pervert, if I was a pervert, I would just say cock over and over again, not Gamecock.
Yeah. Hey, don't be a Gamecock. Let's go.
So this like I said, we got Cam Smith, and this Gamecock is a cock block. Let's just put it that way, okay? Like he's a yes, that time I did it. He's a man corner as well again. Very good with fluid hips, physical. The only concern that I've had with him is he's overly aggressive in tackling and coverage sometimes, meaning he'll make the mistake because he wants to make the big play. And sometimes that's going to work out, and sometimes it's not. I'm not even saying pass interference. I'm going to say I'm saying more like the guy is the guy who goes for the interception and it lets up the big play. That kind of move. So, could be good, could be bad. So, I want a solid 2. I'm not sure he's that guy. Like I said, and it depends. Can you out-coach him out of this issue? And we'll have to find out. John Anderson, Gamecock. John, come on. We're not saying that word.
Boys, let's get the Gamecock out.
Oh, yeah. The Gamecocks. The Gamecocks are coming. Who names the team that? Like, I gotta wonder, was this like a name they made in like the 20s and this wasn't it didn't mean the same thing, it just meant chicken back then?
It has to be. It has to.
Like, there's so many things with the word chicken that, oh my God, if they use that word instead. Like, could you imagine? Remember the chicken tonights back in the day? Imagine if they used that word instead.
Listen,
I feel like blank
fierce.
tonight. Like, I'm just saying this.
I'm just saying, a cock was a fierce animal, so it got snipped.
Oh my God. Alrighty. So next up, we go from a gamecock to a bulldog, and Keely Ringo, not to be confused with Ringo Starr. Another man coverage guy, very fast. That's one of the biggest things you notice on this guy on tape really quickly. He is fast as hell. The issue is he has trouble changing directions. And what I mean by that is if you got a guy who's a good route runner, he's going to confuse him and he's going to make him make a mistake. He also had better film last year than he had this year. And that's something that always scares me. That was a big thing in my opinion of the issue we had last year with Derek Stingley versus Sauce Gardner. And I didn't want to go with Derek Stingley because I felt like his best tape was 2 years ago. I want a guy who improves. I don't want a guy who's going downward. Unless there's an injury or something like that, I can say that's causing it. So the best of my knowledge, there was no injury. So if we got any Bulldog fans that want to correct me on that, feel free, because I freely admit that there's 500,000 college teams and I can't keep up with every single one of them. So we have next our last of the first round corners. And that's number 30, Clark Phillips III. Pinky's out. Pinky's out for Clark Phillips III.
You're good.
Oh, chip chop chotty.
Hopefully that's not the game park.
Another man coverage guy there. Very quick, good ball skills, competitive, but he's also much smaller. And because of that, he's also had some tackling issues. So we'll have to see overall as far as, if we can get a guy like that on there. Then we got in the second round, Emmanuel Forbes, number 38, out of Mississippi State. Mississippi. That's a guy I don't want personally. He's experienced in man end zone. I want a man guy only. I want a man coverage guy. I got to be very careful with my wording. Yeah. But good instincts, overly aggressive, slim. Yeah, I got to see in a second. So it's not a guy that I'm interested in having personally at that point. So next guy up we have is DJ Turner out of Michigan. So zone guy. I'm not interested in a zone guy. Wink's defense is man coverage again. Now, some people might be saying, okay, wait a minute. We're going to lose Wink potentially in a year or so. No, hopefully. Now, if we lose Wink, we get a different guy. He might have his own system. But you build around the current system you have. Because if you get the guys that fit a system, then you get a similar system coming in with the next guy. That's what you got to do. That's just smart football. Because you spent now 2 years building into Wink's defense. So whether Wink stays around or not, you got to build with the man coverage kind of system at that point there. So the next guy we do have, Kayoblu Kelly out of Stanford. Now that's a guy that fits the system much better. He's ranked just 42, so just a couple spots behind DJ there. Man coverage guy. He's best in press man coverage. And the biggest knock on this guy is he's not very versatile at all. He's not a guy that you can go, okay, I'm going to take you out of the press man spot. I'm going to put you in back off the receiver a little bit, or I'm going to put you in a zone. He is strictly press man coverage. So, I would go with a guy like Kelly all day long because, first off, Stanford's a very smart school. And I know that necessarily shouldn't come into it because we're talking athletics. But look at a guy like Richard Sherman coming out of school like that. These guys are smart. Yeah. They understand football. They can read plays. It's all part of it. I know people like to look at the physicality of football, but there's still an intelligence level for certain positions. Certain
positions. Absolutely right. So especially like a corner, you need to be able to read plays. You need to understand defenses. You need to understand the quarterback play. You need to understand the receiver play. And you need to be able to understand it all together. If you really want to break it down to, like, not to compare the two, side by side, but like some of the best armies are not the most physical armies. It's the armies that could understand what is coming at them and, change their play to what's going on. Same thing with a defense. Yep. So if there's an audible call and your corner can understand what is going on, it's going to change how the defense operates compared to if they don't, which lets up a big play.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'll take a guy that fits our system perfectly, that comes from a very smart school. And, it's going to be like a later round second round pick there. Later second round pick. So guess what we have? A later second round pick. So if we didn't get a guy in the first round, that's the perfect guy who fits our system dead on. Next guy we got is number 48 on the power ranking there with the Draft Network, Julius Brents out of Kansas State. Another zone guy. Don't want him. Next after that, we go to third round, which is the last one we're doing. We'll do the first three and that's it. Because we're not going to get, let's be honest, we're not going to get a starter in the sixth round probably.
No.
If that's your plan, guys, that's a bad plan.
Very bad plan.
It'll work out every so often, but so third round, Garrett Williams is the first guy, ranked 66 out of Syracuse, zone coverage guy. And if people have been wondering, why are we going over these names? Because they're zone coverage. I'm just giving you guys a heads up on who's who. So when you hear this person's name called up on draft night, and you're like, oh, damn it, the corner, we lost him. You know who to care and who not to care about. We don't care about the zone guys. Next one we have, Deontay Bank. I got to love that last name. When he gets his first big payday, it's going to be a fun day for him. Right to the bank. Out of Maryland.
Bank to the bank. Bank to the bank.
The Maryland Tarpons. Man cover guy. There we go. Good in press. Good size and length. Physical. The only issue with him is he's not the fastest guy in the world. So if you get a speedy receiver like a Darius Slayton, he's going to burn him. So you need to have some safety help in those scenarios.
Agreed. But most of those really fast receivers are not going to be the wide receiver 2 or 3 so fast.
Think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast. Chad Powers.
But, I mean, let's be real. Like, usually, especially a rookie, are they going to be the wide 2? They're probably going to be the are they going to be the quarterback 2 or 3? They're probably going to be like towards 3. Are you going to face the fastest guy? No, that's something you can work on.
Listen, for all we know, they're going to go ahead and have Sonic the Hedgehog on the squad. You don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Sonic. He can really move. Sonic. He's got an attitude. Sonic. He's the fastest thing alive. That old commercial, old cartoon back in the day. It's funny how back then they used to make all of our video games into commercials. Instead of cartoons. And now they're turning them into movies. They made two Sonic. I think they're making a third one, I heard.
Yeah.
And now the Mario is coming out soon.
I mean, that's what the second Mario movie or the third?
So if you want to count the original
Super Mario Brothers and
Super Mario Brothers with Dennis Haskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit and John Leguizamo, from Tu Wong Fu, we'll say. Or Spawn. He was in Spawn.
He was in Spawn. He was also in John Wick.
He was in a lot of movies, but yeah. But like I said, it'd be interesting. I just hope they get the accent right this time because the last trailer I saw for the new Mario one was pretty bad. Alrighty. On to our next one here. Julius Brents out of Kansas State. Another guy who's a zone coverage guy. So, I'm good. Not who I want. Again, doesn't fit.
No.
Here's the most interesting name potentially that you're gonna get from me. Actually, I'll say this: the second most interesting name. Oh yes, the second most interesting man alive.
Ooh.
He drinks Tres Equis. So Travarius Hodges Tomlinson. Now you might be going, that's a long name, but you also might be going, Tomlinson. Like Damian Tomlinson? Yep, that's his uncle. LT's nephew. Lockdown man corner out of TCU, ranked number 70. Athletic. Lockdown man corner. TCU gave this guy his job. Said, you cover this guy and you keep this guy out of the game. And he did it. The only reason this man is ranked number 70 and not number 17.
Because I'm taller than he is.
Yes, he's 5'9", folks. 5'9". So here's what I look at when I see that. He's not going to get interceptions. Let's call it what it is. He's not going to get interceptions. He doesn't have the kind of length that you want from a guy who's going to be the ball hawk. He's also a guy that when he loses some of his physical abilities, he's going to be in trouble real quick. He doesn't have the reach to make up for mistakes. Call it what it is. But when he's young, like he is now,
on a rookie deal.
This is a guy that I'm telling you right now, if something happens, like let's say we don't get a linebacker, so we have to get a linebacker in the draft. We get him in the first couple of rounds. We get a receiver in the first couple of rounds. We go, okay, we need to figure out something this third round for a corner. That's a great option. Absolutely great option.
Keep him for the first 3-5 years, then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also to see where he's at that point. Next up, John Anderson. You asked for it. Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami. So I'll give you John's thoughts here because he put him right in the chat here. Good depth, size, and length. That's what she said.
Hey-o. And aggressive.
Hey-o.
Boom, boom.
So another man coverage guy. And my scouting report of him is very similar to John, but not quite as perverted. So great length, physical, aggressive. Not a great tackler. That's the one issue he definitely had at Miami. Not a great tackler.
But also, if you're doing your job right as a corner, they're not getting the ball, so you don't have to tackle.
That's the hope, but you still need to help and run. You still need to help and run coverage too.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm just saying,
How many outside runs do we have this past year that just went and went and went and went and went? I think I think Travis Etienne is still running from his game against us. He's still no one's caught him yet. No one's caught him yet. So it's part of the equation. Number 98, our last one of the three rounders. Alex Austin out of Oregon State. Versatile, but best in man coverage. So I would look at a guy in the third round like this, late in the third round, that's versatile but specializes in man, because of the fact that at this point you want the best guy available. There's usually a big drop off the farther you go here. So good size and build, competitive. John will like this one here. Here's the one for you, John. He's handsy. Super handsy. He's gotten a lot of issues with penalties for hands. So, John says, it wasn't about him, it's what you said earlier. Okay. See, I was holding on, John, when you said the ones. I was waiting until we started talking about the kid from Miami. So, but yeah, like I said, that's our last one now. I'm going to give you guys a wild card. And this is not necessarily a guy the Giants will pick up because he's more of a zone guy. But what did we talk about before? When do you make the move to get a guy to fit when there's a talent? When there's a talent. So, Tiawan Mullen out of Indiana, ranked number 222. 222 on the Draft Network's profiles for corners. That's barely drafted.
Yeah.
Barely drafted. Now, he's shown ability as a blitzer. What does Wink love to do? He loves to do the blitz. This guy does the blitzkrieg bop. And like I said, he's a zone guy. But at the same point, Indiana was a zone defense. We didn't get a chance to see him in man, really. So it's not necessarily on him at that point. His brother is Trayvon Mullen, NFL player. His cousin, Lamar Jackson. You guys may have heard of him. MVP quarterback. Currently nobody wants. I'm still trying to figure that one out. As a freshman, honorable mention,
Apparently.
all Big Ten.
Apparently.
So, as a sophomore, first team All-American in Indiana. That's not usually the school you hear about All-Americans in football. Maybe in college, but not in football. You know, that's how we get like the Larry Birds, the football basketball players at. You don't get the football All-Americans. So first team All-American as a sophomore. Top rated defensive back in all of the Big Ten by PFF in 2021. But he only played in 5 games because of an ankle injury. Started all of last season, but wasn't as good because of coming back from an injury. So now the question comes to be, did the injury zap him of something special? Or did he need a year to come back? That's not uncommon with a big injury.
I was going to say, that's not an uncommon thing, especially ankle. Like, depends on what it is in the ankle. Like, some guys just aren't themselves coming off. Like, they're not as athletic as they should be because it's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing.
Yep.
And once you're on the field doing it again the year after, which would be his rookie year in the NFL, you can come out being stellar.
Yep.
Granted, you're going to come back, be healthy, but you're also going to be in the highest caliber in football.
Yeah, but like I said, when you can get a guy that late in the draft, and we got to see where he goes, because somebody else could say the same thing as me and say, "Screw this! This is a guy that I'm not putting this guy in the 6th round. I'm picking him up at the 4th or 5th and hoping he gets healthy, hoping he comes back to what he was."
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, nor would I at all. But guys, remember this name, T.Juan Mullen, because I'm telling you, this is a guy that very well could be that late round guy. That Woolen, like he was this year for Seattle, that you get very late in the draft because somebody missed something or somebody overlooked something, and then all of a sudden he's a beast.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, I think it's pretty obvious what to do with the corner group overall. I think we pretty much went over pretty cut and dry what to do. Redo Adoree Jackson's contract. Get him a new one for 3 years. Use that money you saved to get Fabian Moreau. You keep Robinson, you keep McLeod, you keep Flott. Zion Gilbert ends up in the practice squad. You go out and you draft somebody who's going to be your CB2, your CB3, depending on how he does in practice, depending on how he does against Fabian Moreau in practice there when they're competing for that second corner spot. Because keep in mind, guys, corner is not a position that you tend to come into the NFL and just crush it.
Yeah. And also remember, this past year was a rebuild year. This year coming up is still a rebuild year. So, when you draft someone that is going to go into a position that you don't come in and dominate at, normally you dominate in a year 2 or 3.
Yep.
It's okay to draft someone and they don't play well, know that they're going to play well the following year.
And this is the big reason why I want Fabian Moreau back. Because we know he was acceptable, at least as a CB2 if need be. I'm not trying to make it seem like he's the Pro Bowler, he's the answer long term. But
no,
having him there in the roster as an option is not a horrible thing at all. And we know he works in the defense. So, my hope would be, if we do go and get a linebacker like a Drew Tranquil, is the guy I've been saying. We do go ahead and get a weapon in offense like Mike Gesicki. We have a linebacker position filled. We have our main weapon filled. We have a first round, a second round. We have 2 third rounds. Okay, so we got 4.
Correct.
What I call quality picks. The first 2 days are quality picks. These are guys that should come into your team and start immediately. We need a wide receiver. We need a corner. We need an interior offensive lineman. We got a wild card pick in there where we can literally pick whatever we think is best. We do that, folks. We've gone ahead and filled up all the holes. No jokes from you, John Anderson. but we filled up all the major holes on the roster. And don't get me wrong, not every move you make works. So I'm not sitting there saying we have this excellent, amazing team now because we did that. But we do have a pretty damn good start. And that's what it's all about. Like you said, it's a rebuild. I know people want to hear that after 9-7-1. It just sounds so damn weird to say 9-7-1.
Yeah, on a rebuild.
Yeah. But guys, we had a weak schedule last year. We ended it rough. We had some good teams towards the end, playing the Eagles twice, as much as I hate to say them as a good team. Playing the Cowboys once. Playing the Commanders, who were at least a slightly above average kind of team for most of the year. You know, we had the Vikings. We had some good teams to play later on in the year. But there was that stretch in the middle. Oof.
Kicked their butts.
It was brutal. I mean, we started off 6-1 for a reason, guys. Some of the teams we played just weren't that good. We can't count on that every year. So, like I said, let's fill those holes where we can.
I mean, it's Baltimore and Green Bay not that good of a team. Titans not that good of a team.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm not going to sit there and say they're all bad. But I am going to sit there and say that we definitely could face better teams than what we thought we had.
And also,
were the Colts good? Were the Texans good?
Let's also not.
Were the Jags good when we played them?
We're going to draft, hopefully draft well, but also don't be surprised if we don't get 10 wins this year.
No. And listen, I'll say this: with having a regular schedule, if we just end up with the same schedule, that's still a winning season for me.
Yeah, if we still get 9 wins next year, it's a good year, especially since the prior year.
The big thing for me is keep DJ off his back. Have somebody to throw to.
Yeah.
That's the progress we need to see. That's the progress we need to see this year. But corner-wise, the progress we need to see is having a legitimate guy who we could say is an heir apparent to Adoree Jackson. Because like I said, I really do think we're gonna re-sign him. I've heard mixed on that, so I don't want to make it seem like I have some news or I've heard it through the grapevine. Like I've heard mixed on it myself. But I think we'll do it. I think we'll re-sign him to I should re-sign him even because he's still signed technically. But we'll give him a new contract, get that number down, have him for 3 years. Gives us a chance to have somebody else be the CB2 that we draft, like a Joey Porter. Joey Porter Jr., come on. And then by the time we're ready to get rid of Adoree Jackson, he is our new Adoree Jackson. He steps in to be that big contract corner. And then you draft another one.
Yeah, and keep the cycle going.
Keep drafting. Honestly, corner's a position, guys, that you should probably be drafting one at least every draft. You should be drafting one lineman for the offense and one corner because those are the two positions you're going to put on more people on your roster than anywhere else. If you're not constantly putting in a big flux of young talent into those two squads, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Even if you do it every other year, keep your cycle going.
Every year. Let's keep it going. Because not only are they important positions, but they can be expensive positions.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. So next week, Giant fans, to give you a heads up on what we're going to do. Monday, believe it or not, starts the free agency time period. So Wednesday's the official league start to the new year. But Monday starts that 2-day tampering window that the NFL gives. So originally, we were going to continue our streak here of going through all the positions. We'd have just regular safety talk now for you guys and special teams. But we put a cancel on that. Because we're going to come at you live next week with all the free agency news. So we already have it set to do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Because we're expecting that much kind of info for you guys. It's the most chaotic, hectic few days in the NFL schedule coming up. So keep up to date. Watch the goofballs. We're going to tell you what's going on. Just all the news came down today even. A lot of the stuff we talked in the beginning of this show, guys, just happened. The trade with the Bears and the Panthers to get the first overall pick. That just happened tonight. Marcus Golden getting cut. Adam Thielen getting cut. Darius Slay having to seek a trade now or take a pay cut. All this stuff came out today. So you don't got to scour the web. We do it for you. You just got to sit down for an hour or so with a beer in hand, chill and relax. That's all you got to do.
Sounds fantastic.
And the best way to know we're coming on, besides keeping your phone on our page at all times,
hit that follow us.
Hit that subscribe. Hit the bell on YouTube. Honestly, that's the easiest way. Hit the bell on YouTube. And it's going to tell you that. But it's also hit the like on Facebook. Because I'll tell you this, before we go live, my phone goes off like crazy. YouTube saying, hey, the goofballs are coming up. Facebook saying, hey, you got a show coming up. Because at least Facebook's smart enough to know it's myself. Sorry, YouTube. Google's not so smart enough to roll. And keep in mind, guys, if you're not watching us live, you're watching us on, or you're watching us after the fact, and you want that, that's fine too. We appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are on audio and you just prefer audio and you listen to stuff on your way home, that's fine as well. But keep in mind, all these options are available to you guys. So again, we got Facebook, we got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got YouTube, we got Twitch, we got my LinkedIn profile of all things.
So don't forget about LinkedIn.
Live at that point. All live. I think we're like the only sports show I know that goes on LinkedIn too. But whatever, I got like 10,000 people on my LinkedIn page, so we're doing it. So again, we're on all those live. We're on after the fact. We're on audio platforms. And I put that up literally like within an hour of the show being up, guys, the audio is on as well. And that's up on literally every audio podcast platform known to man. So again, guys, we appreciate you guys very much for listening in, listening to what these goofballs have to say. Remember, guys, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 9 o'clock, we will be live letting you guys know all the news from that day. There's going to be a lot. This is the free agency time period, guys. There's going to be like probably 20, 30 guys sign a day, big time, that you go, oh, I know that name. This is what happens when the free agency goes. It's a flurry, which is a weird name because when there's a snow flurry, it's a little bit of snow. But it's a ton of things. It's a ton of people going. So again, guys, thank you very much for listening to hear what these goofballs have to say. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man!
G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?